Hey guys, it's Steve back again with another bat rep for you. This time I'm playing Gearheart into Damiano in Mercs in Soldiers of Fortune. There's another new player, yet another new player in our local area, so things are actually growing pretty nicely around here. And this is a player I've played a couple of times in Brawl Machine, and he took the chance to get a lot of stuff fully painted for during lockdown, so now we've got a fully painted Steelhead army, which looks pretty amazing. And these are the lists. So it's a brand new player, and so I'm being very kind, and I'm playing one of my favourite competitive lists into him. It's Mount Ashmore once again. So that's Gearheart with Alice, a Suppressor and a Vindicator, 2 Death Archons, 2 Ascendant Mentalists, 2 units of Failed Experiments, 2 units of Crucible Guard, Assault Troopers, and 1 unit of Combat Alchemists. And my opponent brought Damiano, as I said, in Soldiers of Fortune, with a Mangler, Rocinante, and a Vanguard in the battle group. He's got Stannis Brocker, Iris 1, an Ogren Bakor, Sergeant Nicholas Verendry, Steelhead Arcanist, got Alexia in the Risen, a full unit of Halberdiers, Steelhead Halberdiers, full unit of Steelhead Heavy Cav, and a full unit of Steelhead Riflemen. So here's what the table looked like. Middle at the top, you can see a body of shallow water and a house. Then on the left-hand side, there's a forest and a house in the zone. Then going anti-clockwise, we've got another forest on the bottom left. In the middle zone, we've got some smoke, and we've got some rough terrain on the bottom right. And in the right-hand zone, we've got a wall and another forest. Once again, I lost the roll-off to go first, so my opponent decided to go first, which I think is probably the right call. He's got kind of a mixed combined arms type list with a bit of shooting and a little bit of melee. Not especially fast, but he's got some cav in there. And so I chose to go on this side, which was the side which didn't have a great big lake in the middle of my side of the table. So I actually skipped the first turn for my opponent, but this is what the table looked like after we both had our first turn. So my opponent just moved up. He went first, moved up. Got a bit jammed up around the house, which hopefully he'll avoid next time. Some of his stuff a little bit stuck behind some of his other stuff. So, as I said, just getting used to the rules of the game. So, not like a super competitive game at the moment, but yeah, just moving everything forward a little bit. You can see the cavalry over on the right-hand side hiding up behind the forest. The halberdiers all around the house, along with the Risen. And I can see the Ogren and the Mangler in there as well. And on the left-hand side, he's got his rifleman up front. Iris is in the water there. And Damiano is there with Rocinante and the Vanguard, and I think I can see the Arcanist there as well. I think Stannis Brocker is over with the cavalry on the right hand side, and Sergeant Nick is back up behind the halberdiers. And then on my turn, I ran up. I was slightly concerned about the shooting that he's got with my Death Archons, but everything else in the list is very resilient to shooting, so the Death Archons hid up behind the forest on my side of the table and behind the house, and everything else sort of bunched up, just respected his charge ranges with his cavalry, and then just bunched up and took shelter under the D-Cell and the Force Aura. Also put Snipe up on me Combat Alchemists, and they chucked a few grenades into the Halberdiers, which killed, I think, 4 halberdiers, but then Alexia gets the corpses for those, so they'll be coming back as Risen pretty soon. Other than that, yeah, just moving stuff up and getting ready to see what happens in turn 2. And that looks like this. So, those Risen came back, and the halberdiers that I killed also came back, so that's quite a nice little dynamic in this list with Alexia and Sergeant Nick, that they can start bringing back and end up with more models than they started with, which is pretty cool. So a Thrall went in and killed one of my alchemists, I think, maybe? Oh no, he missed the alchemist with the Thrall in the clouds there, but what he did do is use the rifleman and Rocinante to shoot one of my... Oh, and Iris as well, to shoot one of my assault troopers off the table. So Iris is able to do 3 auto points of damage, and then the rest of the damage came from the rifleman and Rocinante. But he had to do all of those shots to kill 1 assault trooper. So the anti-shooting tech in this list is really showing, looking pretty good. Other than that, he moved up his cavalry on the right. Maybe a tiny mistake in that he allowed, put them in threat range of my assault troopers. The halberdiers, including Vengeance, were still too far away to do any successful charges, so they just ran up, and the Risen ran up as well. Other than that, everything else is just sort of shuffling. And then on my turn, so I was able to do some damage here, so pretty amazing turn for the 2 remaining combat alchemists. They used 2 grenades and killed the entire unit of riflemen. They were just bunched up perfectly, hit both of the attacks, and they were all within range of the 3-inch AoE, so that was pretty unbelievable. Lots of fun. The left-hand Death Archon, you can just see him on the left-hand side behind the forest. So now the riflemen are out of the way, so I moved him up there to keep that zone pinned down, and also start to threaten Damiano and the Arcanist over on the other side of that forest. So my assault troopers on the right-hand side were able to go in and take out a couple of cavalry. I think I also charged in with the failed experiments to try and hit the cavalry, but I actually wasn't able to get super close to them, and I think I missed the attacks that I did try and do over there. Suppressor went in and absolutely shredded the halberdiers, gave a lot of corpses to Alexia. I think she got 8 corpses, something like that. And then in the middle, my failed experiments started to creep forward and started to invite charges from his stuff to try and bring them into range of the second unit of assault troopers. My opponent's counter looked like this. Quite a lot of damage going on. He basically stripped out my front lines, so almost the complete units of both units of failed experiments were taken out. Just the leaders left on those. The suppressor also got charged by the mangler. It was pretty inevitable. I don't know if I really needed to avoid that, but that certainly brought the mangler in threat range of my assault troopers, which is pretty cool. This was also Damiano's feat turn, which meant that the mangler had no problem killing the suppressor. And it was the mangler that killed all of the left-hand unit of failed experiments as well, because he has a thresher attack, and that was very effective. On the right-hand side, it was the cavalry that took out the failed experiments, but left all of the assault troopers alive. So then I was able to do my second alpha, my beta, I guess, and that looked like this. So managed to kill 1 more cavalry by the looks of it. I was able to take out the mangler pretty easily with assault troopers. I took it as feat turn, but I wasn't able to reach a lot of stuff with my feet. I think I managed to take out maybe the mangler and one other thing, maybe the halberdiers. I can't remember. My remaining failed experiments run up to, on the right hand side, run up to jam the cavalry, and the left hand failed experiments, which are now actually on the right hand side of the board, walked up and took out some remaining Risen, I believe. I also charged the objective and tried to take that out, but shot it with the Vindicator, but still just left it on 1 box. But that makes it available for me to attack on the following turn as well. On the left-hand side, you can see that pesky Death Archon. He was able to fly over the forest and attack the Vanguard in the back, which allowed him to teleport and attack the Vindicator, and also put an attack on Damiano, so kind of forcing my opponent to deal with that if he gets the chance on the next turn, which is what he did. So on his turn, he managed to take out the Death Archon, completely finished off the failed experiments on the right hand side, but my Ascendant Mentalist had Psychokinetic Shield up, so she was able to protect the remaining assault troopers because of Ashen Veil and Psychokinetic Shield. They were at Def 15, which is actually pretty hard for these Mat 6 cavalry to get through. Some Risen came back and started to spread out into my lines, preparing for the next turn. And yes, they dealt with the Death Archon over on the other side. I think that's pretty much it. And so I was able to finally charge the cavalry with my Death Archon over on the right hand side, and he just killed everything basically. That is ridiculous against units like cavalry. It's really, really good. The assault troopers on the right hand side moved out into the center to try and stop any chances of running contesting. The remaining failed experiment from the left hand unit killed Alexia by walking into her back arc, and that took out all the Risen as well. Then I think one of my assault troopers charged Damiano. The assault troopers also managed to take out the objective on my opponent's side of the table, and I think the Vindicator also put some damage down on him by shooting Rocinante, and Gearheart came in and scored the center zone. So I went up by 3 points, I believe, on this turn. Oh, and the Combat Alchemist ran into the left-hand zone to try and make sure that couldn't possibly get scored. So my opponent's left with 3 models on the table, and at that point it was round 4, I think, and we called it at that point because it seemed like it would be very difficult for him to claw anything back. And I'm 3 points ahead and I have a clear attrition advantage. I think he probably could have lasted 1 more turn, but after that I think it's over. Anyway, it was a really fun game, and I'm looking forward to seeing this marvellously painted army once again, hopefully in a battle rep soon. So see you on the next one. Bye!